Welcome to Rhino Savanna here at the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens in Palm Desert, California, nestled right in the middle of the Coachella Valley. This is our 4-acre multi-species habitat with our signature species, our critically endangered black rhino, that we've also been able to create homes for many other species. So we can not only tell the conservation story of the critically endangered black rhino, but all the other species that live with him and call the zoo home as well. This 4-acre, $17 million construction project was done by our local construction company, D.W. Johnston, and GLMV architects help us design this amazing habitat that we're going to share with you today. We're standing in front of our Outpost Barn, one of 3 barns that we built in Rhino Savanna. Something that we were very conscious of, and we continue to try to be more and more transparent with our guests when we're telling our stories, is to do a lot of things in front of our guests that traditionally have been behind the scenes, like our meal prep, our veterinary procedures, our training. But we've brought all of that front of house with high in mind when we've built this habitat and designed this habitat. And so, for instance, our very first rhino blood draw was on habitat at the Rhino Rail in front of guests watching, and we were able to connect with them on a whole new level and show them all the care that it takes and that we take to put into the health and welfare of our animals. So with that in mind, in our Outpost Barn, we actually built this wall to open up so it can be closed or open. And if we were doing a wing trim or a procedure with our hoof stock with our vets, or even training sessions, we can open this up and share those experiences with our guests. So this helps us connect with them on a whole new level to help them understand everything that goes into the care and welfare of our animals that call the Living Desert home. We have built in the Chaikin Family Animal Care and Nutrition Center. So this helps us create another sense of transparency with our guests by allowing them to view our animals' meals being prepared, primarily our herbivore meals for the entire zoo, right here in front of our guests, and also helps them see all the things the animal care keepers need to do in order to provide a high quality of care for all of the animals here that call the zoo home. Building in this patio area between the Waterhole Savanna and the Animal Care and Nutrition Center has allowed us to extend our legacy garden to provide an even larger outdoor event space. Welcome to Life Underground. This is a place that we've built in to show what happens under the dirt where all these animals live. So we've built in 2 mongoose habitats for dwarf mongoose, banded mongoose, and then we have one of the largest naked mole rat colony habitats, we believe, in the world. We're standing in the middle of our Life Underground tunnel, which showcases our naked mole rat colonies, our mongoose dens, and then we've also tucked in some invertebrates as well. We're standing here on the top of the wildlife corridor in Rhino Savanna. This hillside connects the Waterhole Savanna to the desert savanna and is accessible to all the animals. So this is one way that the rhino and all the other inhabitants of Rhino Savanna can traverse up and over from one yard to the other. It also has one of the best views in the zoo that the animals get to enjoy. And we actually thought this was going to be the hardest thing to train the animals, and it was one of the easiest things, and we didn't really even have to train it. They come up here really readily, and they love being up here, and we think that it's because it's one of the highest points in the habitat. One of the great unique things about building this is it's actually a freeway overpass built underneath all of this, which gives us great stability for here in California where we do have earthquakes, and it will withstand the test of time. I'm standing at the Rhino Railing. You'll notice as you look at the videos of the habitat that we use several different types of barriers to create different types of exclusion zones for the animals to move in and out of. So this rhino railing, rhinos can't get past it, but all the other animals can get through it. And then we use this Nets Unlimited netting for our perimeter around the entire habitat. We've also used a variety of rockwork, topography, trees, and deadfall to create these exclusion areas so that there are plenty of areas for all the animals to move around in and move away from the rhino if they want to. Here in this underground tunnel area is one way the animals can traverse back and forth between both savannas, and it's also one way where we can have a rhino come in here, hold the rhino while we move the rhino up and over and around. This is our desert savanna overlook, one of the places you can actually look into our desert savanna, but it gives you a good view of the different things we've built in, like the mud wallow, the vulture tree, the different exclusion areas, and then you also get a look at one of our 3 barns that we've built behind here, which has rhino stalls and bird and hoofstock stalls built in as well. And you can also see the differences in topography that we built in purposely. So it again offers another dynamic way that the habitat changes for the animals and they have to traverse it. So lots of elements are hidden right in front of everybody's eyes. What might just look like a tree in the ground is actually a wobble tree. So we've designed this underground so that we can hang things on it, and when the rhinos come up and scratch on it or rub on it, it will actually move and be dynamic. And we have the opportunity to change how much this wobbles for the rhino depending on how we situate it underground. So just another example of providing a dynamic opportunity for our animals. Now we're standing in front of our Waterhole Savanna that also has a mud wallow on this side for the rhinos and other animals. We have 2 watering holes for them. One has a waterfall, and we have other things like the wobble tree and the feeders that are in around the habitats. And these items are allowing us to provide 24/7 care and items that will help our animals exhibit natural behaviors for all day and all night rather than just the traditional 8 hours a day. And so this is enabling us to provide that 365-day care in a whole new way than we ever have before. Behind me is a great example of another way that we built in an exclusion area that the animals in the habitat can get to, but that the rhinos cannot. But from the guest point of view, it just looks like a mud bank wall in front of the mud wallow. But actually, many of the animals can get up there and be in their exclusive areas that the rhinos can't get to them. So this new construction project allowed us to build in extra guest amenities like all gender accessible restrooms for our guests and the new Crash Cafe. So you can imagine yourself sitting here in the morning having a cup of coffee overlooking the rhino and giraffe savannas, or late in the evening enjoying a cold beer or a glass of wine. So here you have a great view of our desert barn. We have built this barn with a few features in mind to help for ease, one of which is loading and offloading. So this barn is adjacent to our parking lot, which will allow for easy access trailer to pull in and pull out so that we can load and offload animals from here. We also built in 2 rhino stalls and then 3 hoofstock and bird stalls that can be interchangeable. So it gives us another place for the animals to get relief from the harsh elements in the summer if we want to give them access if it's too hot, or if we have a few of those colder nights, we can give them access to the barns as well. We're here in our conservation station, tucked right in the middle of our Waterhole Savanna. And this is a place that we can tell our conservation stories to our guests. We have multiple panels to share our stories that we're working around the globe on. We have a video screen that can play videos with either field conservation projects that our team has actually gone out in the field with, or those that we support in other ways. It also acts as a cooling station with built-in fans and misters for our guests as well. So those hot summer days, there's a little oasis that they can sit and enjoy the Rhino Savanna, read a little bit and hear a little bit about our conservation messages and cool down. Throughout the habitat, we've also been able to take advantage of our Botanical Garden side of our zoo, and so our gardens department and landscape architects were able to build in many varieties of African species that make the Rhino Savanna even more unique. We're now standing in the middle of our 3,000 square foot Rhino Barn that has 3 stalls built in, all with natural substrate and each with its own waterer. The features that we've built into this barn are big ass fans for cooling, some mister fans, radiant heating, lighting, and also a camera system so that we can keep an eye on our rhinos 24/7. We've also built in a built-in scale so that we can keep continuous weights on the animals. We purposely built in this sun stall. So this stall has some overhang from the roof, but it also allows the animals to be indoors and still get natural sunlight. We're lucky enough that our environment and our climate allow us to have these open air barns because it stays pretty warm here for most of the year and we have very few cold nights. We're standing in the Rhino Encounter area where we can do guest interactions, donor interactions, VIP meet and greets, things like that. Our eventual use for this is that we will have this as part of a paid experience, but for now we have used it as just an extra side yard to our barn, and the keepers have been able to do a lot of training and positive reinforcement with the rhinos in this area. We've been able to already do hoof work and get them ready for voluntary blood draws and injections and all those husbandry care things that we have to do with them. Thank you for touring Rhino Savanna at the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens with us today. We hope you enjoyed your tour. We're really excited to share this new habitat with everybody. It's been a unique experience. You know, we're really trying to be a forward-thinking zoo, a zoo of the future, thinking ahead, thinking outside the box. We're challenged here to take risks, and in this case, this risk we feel has really paid off, not just for us to be able to tell the critically endangered black rhino conservation stories, but so many more stories with all the animals that live here with them. And these are animals that also need spaces in our zoos. So we're really excited that we've been able to provide homes for more than one species in a dynamic way. We've created lots of spaces and lots of opportunities, not just for the animals, but for our guests and keeper staff too. So we hope you enjoyed your tour with us today and come see us anytime.